In the vast, silent expanse of space, humanity discovered they were not alone. The first contact was not a moment of wonder or celebration, but a clash of misunderstandings and fear. Commander J. Park stood on the bridge of the reconnaissance vessel Horizon, his dark eyes fixed on the holographic display that flickered with alien communications. The room was tense, filled with the soft hum of advanced technology and the nervous breathing of his crew. Yuna Kim, the communication specialist, worked diligently, her fingers dancing across translators and communication arrays. Her face was a mixture of concentration and growing concern. "Sir," she said, breaking the silence, "the transmissions are not good." Jay understood immediately. The Galactic Confederation, a complex network of alien civilizations, had been observing humanity for months. Their initial assessments were far from kind. Humans were seen as unpredictable, aggressive, and fundamentally dangerous. The incident that triggered this perception had happened just weeks earlier. A human exploration vessel had encountered an alien research ship near the outer edges of the solar system. What started as a routine communication attempt quickly devolved into a misunderstanding. The human crew, trained to be cautious in unknown environments, had maintained a defensive posture. The alien ship interpreted this as a threat. Weapons were not fired. No shots were exchanged. But the perception of human behavior had been set. To the vast, interconnected alien civilizations, humans were nothing more than wild, uncontrollable creatures. Yuna continued translating the intercepted messages. Each word painted a darker picture. "Barbaric," one transmission called humans. "Uncontrolled," said another. "A potential threat to galactic stability," concluded a third. Jay understood the irony. Humanity had spent centuries fighting its own internal conflicts, struggling to unite as a single species. And now, when they had finally begun to see themselves as one people, the galaxy saw them as something to be feared. The Horizon moved silently through space, a testament to human engineering. Its hull was sleek, its systems advanced, yet it carried the weight of an entire species' reputation. Every movement was calculated, every communication carefully monitored. "They're watching us," Yuna muttered, more to herself than to Jay. Always watching. The crew was a microcosm of human diversity. Young and old, from different continents and cultural backgrounds, they were united by a single mission: to represent humanity in this vast, unknown universe. Each member knew the stakes. One wrong move could seal their species' fate. Jay remembered the briefings, the endless discussions with military and diplomatic leaders before this mission. They had known this moment would be crucial. First impressions in the galactic community would define humanity's future. A junior officer approached, a tablet in hand. "Sir, we're picking up increased communication traffic from the Confederation networks." The holographic display shifted, showing complex communication patterns. To an untrained eye, it might look like random noise. But to Jay and his crew, it was a language. A complex, nuanced language of potential threat and diplomatic positioning. Humanity was being judged, not by its potential, its achievements, or its capacity for growth. They were being judged by a few moments of misunderstood interaction, by the fear of the unknown. Yuna looked up, her expression a mix of frustration and determination. "They don't understand us," she said. "They see our defensive protocols as aggression. They interpret our caution as a threat." Jay nodded. The galaxy had labeled them monsters before truly knowing them. But they would change that perception, not through force, but through understanding. "Continue monitoring," he told his crew. "We're here to listen, to learn, and to show them who we really are." Outside the ship's reinforced windows, stars continued their ancient dance. Galaxies swirled in silent complexity. And humanity, a young species on the cosmic scale, took its first tentative steps into a larger, more complicated universe. The Horizon moved forward, a beacon of hope and potential, carrying with it the dreams and aspirations of an entire species. They were not monsters. They were explorers ready to prove themselves. The first chapter of humanity's galactic story was just beginning. The world changed quickly after the first contact. Humanity realized that survival meant innovation, and innovation became their weapon of choice. In research labs across the globe, scientists and engineers worked with a passion that bordered on obsession. Hyun Choi was one such engineer. His small team at the Advanced Research Center worked day and night, pushing the boundaries of what seemed possible. Their workspace was a controlled chaos of holographic displays, complex machinery, and half-empty coffee cups. 5 years after the initial alien encounter, humanity's technological leap became impossible to ignore. What had once seemed like science fiction was now becoming reality. Hyun's team had developed a revolutionary propulsion system that could compress space-time, allowing faster-than-light travel that made alien transportation methods look primitive. The breakthrough came on a Tuesday morning. Hyun was working on a quantum shield prototype when something unexpected happened. The experimental device suddenly created a stable energy field that could absorb and redirect massive amounts of energy. It was an accident that would change everything. Military, leaders, and government officials began to take notice. The technology was no longer just a scientific curiosity, it was a potential game changer. Funding poured in, and research accelerated at an unprecedented rate. Young engineers and scientists who had once been dismissed as dreamers now found themselves at the center of humanity's most critical mission. They worked with a sense of purpose that went beyond personal achievement. This was about proving humanity's worth to the galaxy. In secret facilities scattered across different continents, teams developed adaptive technologies that seemed to defy current scientific understanding. Nano-regenerative hull systems could repair spacecraft damage almost instantly. Quantum entanglement communication networks allowed instant communication across impossible distances. The military took special interest in these developments. Defensive technologies became a priority. Each breakthrough was another piece of armor, another shield against potential threats from the vast unknown universe. Yoona Kim, who had been part of the initial reconnaissance mission, now worked closely with the research teams. Her understanding of alien communication helped engineers develop technologies that could match and even exceed alien capabilities. "We're not just catching up," she would tell her colleagues. "We're defining a new standard of technological capability." The global response was unlike anything in human history. Countries that had once competed now collaborated. Resources were pooled. The best minds from every corner of the planet worked together with a single goal: to ensure humanity's survival and potential in the galactic community. Satellite networks tracked alien communications. Research centers analyzed every piece of intercepted technology. Universities created specialized programs focused on extraterrestrial technology and potential defense strategies. Hyun's team continued to surprise everyone. Their quantum shield technology evolved rapidly. What started as a defensive mechanism became a multi-purpose tool that could potentially revolutionize space travel, energy production, and communication. The alien civilizations that had once dismissed, humans began to take notice. Their communication networks started showing increased traffic about this unexpected species. Humanity was no longer just an unknown quantity. They were becoming a technological force to be reckoned with. Young people around the world became inspired. Science and technology were no longer boring academic pursuits. They were humanity's path to survival, to respect, to proving their worth in a vast and complex universe. Every breakthrough was a message. We are not primitive. We are not monsters. We are innovators. We are survivors. The technological rebellion was more than just about creating advanced machines. It was about changing the narrative. Humanity was rewriting its own story, one innovation at a time. As the research continued and technologies became more advanced, one thing became clear. The galaxy had severely underestimated this young, determined species. Humanity was not just preparing to defend itself. It was preparing to show the universe exactly what it was capable of achieving. Hyun Choi would often look out the window of his research facility, watching the stars. He knew they were watching back, and this time, humanity would be ready. The first signs came quietly, almost unnoticed. A distant star cluster went dark, then another. Communication networks across the Galactic Confederation began to buzz with increasing panic. Shung Park watched the data streams with growing dread. As a strategic warfare specialist, she understood patterns that others missed. The disappearances were not random. They were systematic, calculated. The Void Collective emerged from the deepest, darkest regions of intergalactic space like a nightmare made real. They were not simply an invasion force. They were something else entirely, a civilization-ending phenomenon that consumed everything in its path. Massive biomechanical entities dwarfed entire planetary systems. Their ships were not machines in any traditional sense, but living, breathing organisms that absorbed and transformed matter. Where they passed, only cosmic dust remained. The Galactic Confederation's most advanced fleets looked like children's toys against this overwhelming force. Entire defensive networks collapsed within hours. Millions of alien civilizations watched in horror as their most sophisticated technologies crumbled like wet paper. "They're not conquering," Seong told her command team, her voice steady despite the terror of the situation. "They're erasing." Each Void Collective ship was a kilometer long, with structures that seemed to shift and change, defying known physical laws. They moved through space like living shadows, consuming everything: planets, stars, entire solar systems, leaving nothing behind. Communication intercepted from various alien civilizations painted a horrifying picture. Some begged for help. Others prepared for total extinction. The panic was universal, crossing all cultural and technological boundaries. Alien species that had once looked down on humanity now desperately searched for any potential defense. Their advanced technologies, which had seemed so impressive just months earlier, now looked like primitive tools against the approaching darkness. Xiong's research team worked around the clock. They analyzed every piece of data, every transmission, searching for a weakness. The human capacity for innovation became their most powerful weapon. Where others saw hopelessness, they saw a puzzle to be solved. Military leaders from around the world gathered in secure facilities. The mood was tense but determined. Humanity had been preparing for this moment, even if they didn't know it. Every technological breakthrough, every defensive strategy developed over the past 5 years was about to be tested. The Void Collective moved with a kind of cold, calculating intelligence that was neither organic nor purely mechanical. They consumed entire civilizations with a precision that suggested a deeper purpose beyond simple destruction. Tracking systems showed their progression. They were not random, they were methodical. Each movement was calculated to maximize destruction and minimize resistance. Alien diplomatic channels began reaching out to human command centers. The same civilizations that had once called humans monsters now desperately sought their help. Pride had been replaced by pure survival instinct. Seung's team discovered something unusual in the Void Collective's communication patterns. Beneath the destruction, there was a complex network of information transfer. It was almost like the entire invasion was a form of communication, a message being sent across the universe. "They're not just destroying," she told her colleagues. "They're communicating something." The human response would need to be unlike anything the galaxy had ever seen. Traditional warfare strategies would be useless. They needed something different, something unexpected. As the Void Collective moved closer to populated systems, humanity prepared. Not with fear, but with a cold, calculated determination. Every technological innovation, every defensive strategy developed over the years was about to be tested. The darkness was approaching, and humanity would be its unexpected obstacle. The universe held its breath, waiting to see what would happen next. The fleet emerged from Earth's solar system like a silent promise. 500 vessels, each one a testament to human engineering and determination. Commander J. Park stood on the bridge of the lead ship, his eyes fixed on the holographic displays, showing the approaching Void Collective. This was not a traditional military formation. Each ship was unique, designed with technologies that pushed the boundaries of known science. Quantum disruption fields, space-time manipulation systems, adaptive energy redirectors that could turn the enemy's own power against them. Prepare. Quantum interference pattern. Jay commanded, his voice calm and steady. The human ships moved differently from any military force in galactic history. They were not trying to destroy. They were trying to protect. Each vessel positioned itself with mathematical precision, creating a complex defensive network that seemed to defy conventional warfare strategies. Yuna Kim managed communication systems, intercepting and analyzing void collective signals. What she discovered was both terrifying and fascinating. The enemy was not a simple invasion force. It was a complex system of information and destruction, moving with a purpose beyond simple conquest. The first contact happened near the outer rim of a populated alien system. A massive void collective ship, easily 10 kilometers long, approached with its standard consumption pattern. Normally, such an approach would mean total destruction within minutes, but humans were different. Jay's fleet created localized space-time anomalies. These were not weapons in the traditional sense. They were more like precise surgical interventions in the fabric of reality. Each anomaly fragmented the massive void collective vessel, breaking its complex systems without total destruction. "We're not here to destroy," Jay transmitted simultaneously to both the alien defenders and the invading force. "We're here to protect." The battle defied all previous understanding of space combat. Human ships moved like living things, adapting instantly to each threat. Where alien fleets had failed, humanity found innovative solutions. They didn't fight the Void Collective with pure force, but with intelligence, adaptability, and an understanding of complex system interactions. Young technicians worked frantically, managing complex quantum networks that allowed instant communication and adaptive defense strategies. Each crew member understood the stakes. This was more than a battle. This was humanity's moment to prove its worth to the galaxy. Alien observation platforms watched in disbelief. The same species they had once called monsters was now standing between them and total extinction. Human ships created protective fields around alien populations, redirecting destructive energy and creating safe zones where traditional defenses had failed. The battle lasted 72 intense hours. Time seemed to bend and stretch. Space itself felt different around the human fleet. They were not just fighting. They were rewriting the rules of cosmic conflict. Technological innovations developed in secret research facilities now proved their worth. Nano-regenerative systems repaired ship damage almost instantly. Quantum communication networks allowed unprecedented coordination. Each human ship was not just a weapon, but a complex, adaptive organism. The Void Collective discovered something unexpected, resistance that didn't follow any known pattern. Humanity fought with a combination of technological innovation and a fundamental desire to protect that seemed almost incomprehensible to a purely consumption-based intelligence. As the final moments of the battle approached, something remarkable happened. The human fleet was not just defending, they were communicating. Complex information patterns were being transmitted, challenging the Void Collective's fundamental understanding of conflict and existence. Jay understood this was more than a military engagement. This was first contact in its truest sense. They were showing the galaxy who humans really were, not monsters, but protectors. When silence finally descended, the results were unprecedented. 82% of the Galactic Confederation's remaining populations had survived, and humanity had transformed from an unknown, feared species to something else entirely. The silence after the battle was different from any silence before. It was a silence of understanding, of transformation. Diplomatic vessels approached the human fleet, their designs reflecting a newfound respect that had not existed mere days earlier. Yuna Kim stood ready, her hands steady on the communication controls. She was no longer just a translator. She was humanity's first true galactic representative. The same aliens who had once called humans monsters now looked upon them with a complex mixture of gratitude, wonder, and genuine respect. The first transmission came quietly. No aggressive language, no demands, just a simple acknowledgement of what had happened. "You saved us," the message read. Simple words that carried the weight of entire civilizations. Alien representatives began requesting direct communication with human leadership. The Galactic Confederation, which had once treated humanity like a potential threat, now saw them as something entirely different. Commander J. Park understood the significance of this moment. This was more than a military victory. This was a fundamental shift in how intelligent species viewed each other. Humanity had not conquered. They had protected. Research teams began analyzing the battle's data. What they discovered was even more remarkable than the battle itself. The human intervention had not just stopped the Void Collective. It had fundamentally challenged the entity's understanding of existence. The protective strategies humans had developed were so innovative that alien scientists struggled to understand them. Quantum disruption fields, adaptive defensive networks, complex communication systems that treated conflict as a form of dialogue rather than pure destruction. Young diplomats and scientists became unexpected heroes. Their innovative thinking had saved not just one civilization, but potentially countless species across multiple star systems. Universities around Earth began receiving requests from alien academic institutions wanting to understand human problem-solving approaches. Political leaders who had once argued about human potential now stood united. The global response to the EI galactic threat had transformed human society. National boundaries seemed meaningless compared to the larger challenge of cosmic survival. Alien cultures began sharing their histories with humanity. They revealed complex stories of previous conflicts, of civilizations lost to similar threats. Humans listened, learned, and began developing collaborative strategies that combined the best of multiple technological approaches. The redemption was not just external. Humanity was also redeeming its own potential. The internal conflicts that had once divided them now seemed small and insignificant. They had proven that when challenged, they could unite in ways no one had anticipated. Xiong Park, the strategic warfare specialist who had first recognized the Void Collective's pattern, became a key diplomatic advisor. Her insights into complex systems and adaptive thinking became crucial in developing new interspecies communication protocols. The first official diplomatic meetings were unlike any previous encounters. Alien representatives spoke not with suspicion, but with genuine curiosity. They wanted to understand the human approach to problem-solving, to survival, to collective action. Technological exchanges began happening at an unprecedented rate. Alien civilizations that had guarded their knowledge for millennia now openly shared information with human researchers. The same species they had once feared was now seen as a potential key to understanding complex cosmic challenges. Cultural exchanges followed. Human art, music, literature became objects of fascination for alien societies. They discovered a species that was not just technologically innovative, but emotionally complex and creatively diverse. The transformation was complete. Humanity was no longer an unknown, feared species at the galaxy's edge. They had become something else entirely, a civilization of protectors, of innovators, of unexpected heroes. Yuna Kim prepared the final diplomatic communication. The message was simple but powerful. It captured everything humanity had demonstrated during those critical days of conflict. "We are not monsters," the transmission read. "We are guardians." The galaxy listened, and for the first time, they truly heard humanity's voice.